The origin story of the Broken Token is interesting, and I'll try to keep it short, but it was started by myself around 2013. I've always been a board game player, and I set out one day to create a storage box for Agricola that would hold everything, and I made a nice custom box, and my friends thought it was super cool and said, you should sell something like that, but it wasn't feasible. I probably spent 40 hours creating the thing, so it was a labor of love. But it did sort of set the spark in motion that having something like that available for a game would be super cool, and if there was a way to make it, it would be better than Plano boxes and cardboard boxes. So when I don't know, several months later, I joined a maker place here in San Diego where I could use CNC routers and laser cutters, and I thought, oh, this might be a way I could actually take that idea and turn it into something that could be produced. So I'd been playing King of Tokyo at the time, and it had a few expansions, so I thought, well, let me make something I can put in the King of Tokyo box and hold all the expansion and promo content. So I did that, worked out great. I posted some pictures on BoardGameGeek.com and the King of Tokyo forums, and it was an amazing response. People were like, I would totally buy that. Where can I get this from you? So I posted my PayPal address. I didn't have a website, didn't have any infrastructure at the time. So it was a matter of just saying, well, if you send me 15 bucks, then I'll make one for you and mail it to you. And the orders just started rolling in faster than I expected. So I was going down to the maker shop. It got to the point where I was going down there 3 or 4 times a week to cut more King of Tokyo organizers just to fulfill the orders. And then at the same time, you know, people were writing in and saying, you should make this for this other game and this other game. So my second one I made for Eclipse, it had just gotten a new expansion at the time. And that did equally as well. So that was when we really said, man, we're onto something here. This could be something that people really enjoy for the majority of their games. And so we had a nanny at the time who would come to our house, and she watched our twins while my wife and I went to work at a video game development company. And she thought what I was doing was super cool. And we were running out of time in the evening to make all the stuff we needed to fulfill the previous day's orders. So I said, what if I teach you how to run the laser cutter? And I'm skipping over some steps here because I'd bought a laser cutter for my garage. But I taught her how to run that while we were at work. So I'd come home and she'd have a stack of stuff cut for me and would stay and help me fulfill orders until it got to the point where we were going till midnight every night. And so we saw that as the demand was growing, okay, we need space, we need more help, we need more machines. So we rented a small space down the road, moved out of the garage, and that was in April of 2014. And from there, we just kept growing. So it was a lot of fun in the early days, a lot of hard work and a lot of late nights, but it was all worth it.
So some of the design process that I have is to play the game, watch any type of videos, and while this is happening, I always think of what can make the game better, like in the sense of enhancement, functionality. And usually when I can start seeing an idea of what can enhance it, I start putting things into the box of where I would like things are at. And then I'll just make a concept of like the organizer, then I start refining it.
It can be 2 to 3 months, 8 to 12 weeks. That depends on the size or the complexity of the game. And the process is pretty simple. We pick a game, we'll play it once so we can go, what are the things we need to fix? Then we'll have a prototype that kind of just gets everything in the box pretty basically. Then we'll play it again, see what other refinement needs to be done. We'll do that 2 or 3 times before we go, all right, this is the one that we, the basic structure that we're happy with. Then we pretty it up, make it a little bit neater. Then we push it through. The last couple weeks being photos and videos and, shop listings and all that. We absolutely want to be customer focused. So that means getting input is very important. That said, it's difficult to design or really make anything if it's done by committee, because there's a lot of factors that go into whether something is viable. I have to sheet things and how we package it and stuff like that, and something that's too wild and crazy might not work. So we absolutely appreciate input, but when it comes down to it, I don't want to open up and say, let us know what you think and we'll make it happen, because that's just asking for disappointment. But by all means, we look at our reviews, we listen to feedback when something's a problem, and we try to address it as best we can.
Sometimes actually, now that I think about it, we have created threads on websites like Board Game Geek where we've said, hey, we're going to do this specific organizer, what would you like to see out of it? And that's worked very well. But yeah, feel free to get specific in your requests and let us know what you'd like to see. It's a really good question, and that is a question that we're always asking ourselves here, because we're trying to improve the process. And as the company grows, it can change. Sometimes we're production constrained and we'll have a design done, but we might be in the middle of a big release of another product, and if we release something new, our production department wouldn't be able to keep up with it. Then we resolve that issue, and then we might be constrained on the design side. So that is a situation that is constantly changing and evolving, and we're trying to make it faster. It's hard to maintain the agility that you had when you were smaller. But you have to put checks and balances into place. You have to make sure that quality is there. And when you're smaller, you can sell 5 to 10 copies of something and then find a mistake and be like, okay, we'll take care of it. But when you then move 200 to 300 copies of a product, it's a much bigger deal to discover a mistake after the fact. So we have to be more diligent in our quality, and all of that goes into the launch process of a product. So we're always trying to pare that down and get new products out faster, but doing it in a way that we don't make any mistakes, and that's the challenge. So if you have any ideas on how we can improve in that area, I'll give you a job. Just come to San Diego and we'll work it out.
So some of the factors that come into consideration when deciding which game to actually get an organizer is the community voting poll. If it's high on the list of what people want, that actually get priority.
And we get a lot of requests for products. So we sort of weigh those products with weigh those requests along with the things that we also want to do ourselves, and maybe conversations we've had with the game publishers, and we sort of mix that all together and we come up with a list of what we think will be the most popular products for us to produce. So we've been working with our material suppliers for 4 or 5 years now, and they understand what it is that we require out of our material. And if we get a batch of material that doesn't meet our standards, we'll certainly send it back and they'll replace it for us. And then we also have really stringent quality control standards here in-house. So if something does slip through and we catch it during a certain part of the process, then we'll reject that part and we'll replace it. Of course, every now and then something might still make it to a customer, and we always want to avoid that. But our customers have learned pretty quickly that we're here for them and that we will take care of any of those issues. So if you do experience a problem with material or production quality, then you just contact us and we'll take care of it.
That is a very loaded question. I find it somewhat difficult, especially for games that has a lot of bit pieces. I don't know what can be the next bits or pieces gonna look like. But if it's a game with cards and was mostly based off cards, those tend to be a little more simpler because you kind of just guess they're gonna add more cards to it.
I would love to know that too. It's changing so frequently and we're putting new ones out all the time. It's hard to keep up with the numbers, but in the range of around 100 now, maybe a little under. But we have a lot of organizers for a lot of games. Some of them pull double duty, so some of those organizers might work for 8 to 10 games out there. So it also kind of depends on how you want to count that, if you're going by game or if you're going by actual organizer product. But we're certainly, when it comes to the actual organizers themselves, getting close to around 100 now. When it comes to the number of games that we support organization for, it's probably, it's greater than that, 150, 160, I don't know, but somewhere around there. So we still do, but we take every project on its own merit, and we try to make sure that we have a fair level of confidence that the game will be successful and therefore the accessory will be more successful. So we try not to take too many risks in that area because our design time is still at a premium, and we want to make sure that we're focusing on a product that is going to be popular and appreciated by the most number of customers out there. So we're certainly still open to those ideas. We just have to look at the game and the product itself and see if it's something that makes sense to do versus the other stuff that we have on our plate already. The best thing the community can do is really just let us know what they want to see. Our products are fully driven by what you guys want to see. So whether it's answering the product poll, shooting us emails, letting us know at conventions, just being vocal and telling us what you want to see is the best way to help us get those things done. The best thing to do is have the publishers contact us and let us know that something's coming out. It's always tough on a new game, especially the way the game industry's changed. Games are being launched so much faster now than they were 10 years ago. It means you get a wide span of successful games, from games that do amazingly well to games that maybe come out and don't do as well as everybody had hoped. So it's really hard for us to jump on and commit to doing one for a brand new game without knowing if it's going to be one that customers will pick up. After all, our accessories will only sell so much as the game sells itself. So we'll always look at it and evaluate it and see if it's something that we think we can do. But a lot of times we'll take a wait and see approach and see how well a game does after it launches before we'll make the choice to create an accessory for it.
Yeah, I think a video shop tour would be great, and I think it's something Des will be looking into in the future.